Welcome back guys to another episode, and today we've got a couple of mad 992 Turbo S's in. One's for an ES700 and one is upgrading to an ES900. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, press like and keep watching. So guys, we've got Kirk's Ice Grey Metallic 992 Turbo S right here behind me. He went for our ES700 package with the titanium exhaust option. So as always, it sounds sick. It's made some great power on the dyno, which we'll show you very shortly. And as always, on the road, it's done some killer numbers as well. Now this car's quite unique. This Ice Grey Metallic was brought out as a color from Porsche in the later 2023, 2024 models. This is actually a 2024 model car, so it's almost brand new. And the numbers that it's producing already are awesome. Porsche, if you're listening, make your cars like this from the factory. So guys, Kirk's ES700 is complete. He made 720 wheel horsepower. So that translates to 847 horsepower at the crank. Insane, crazy. That's just from our titanium exhaust and full custom tune. In terms of performance on the road, it is insanely quick. The only thing is for you guys watching at home, the Goodyear tires that are on here, they come from factory. They are terrible. They are an option from factory to go with the Goodyear or the Pirelli. Historically, the Pirelli P0s have not been a great tyre, but in the case of the 992, it's a much better factory option compared to the Goodyear. If you do change to a different set of tyres and you want something that's better, definitely go with the Michelins. But even with the Goodyears on, this car still ran a 4.8 100 to 200 and consistent 9.8 quarter miles. And that is just from an exhaust and a tune. Yes guys, so we had one of our customers attend a very exclusive and special race this last weekend. He was part of the Supercar Owners Circle because he has a 918, an SP3, and he's got a few other cars. However, he also has a 992 Turbo S, which we upgraded to ES900 spec. If you rewind back into one of our older videos, we'll put a link up for that. It's a silver 992 ES900 and it was doing some killer numbers. So he lined up against a Koenigsegg Jesko Attack, a Bugatti Chiron Sport and a Lamborghini Revuelto. So the runs were 1 mile long and he won all three races. So the Jesko obviously is rear wheel drive, so it can't launch as good. However, over the 1 mile stretch, it didn't have the legs to come back and get past him, which was very impressive. You have to understand this is just a bolt-on 992 Turbo S. The Jesko was running on E85 and that gives it 1600 horsepower. With it being the Attack, it is a little bit lighter than the standard Jesko, but yeah, it's not great for launching. So then he decided to launch again or run against the Bugatti Chiron Sport. Now for you guys who don't know, the Sport was a lightweight model of the Bugatti. It was slightly lighter than the normal Chiron and it also had different gearing. So it wasn't a highway monster with a 300-mile-an-hour top speed. No, this car was only limited to 218 miles per hour, and the gearing was very different. Reason being, Bugatti wanted this car to be something that can launch off the line and run some great numbers. So factory figures should be 0 to 100 in 2.3 seconds, and the quarter mile time is in the 9s as well for that. And he did much better than the Jesko. However, across the 1 mile format, again, it couldn't pass the ES900. Over a longer distance, I'm sure because those cars have more power, they would get past it. And then he went up against the Revolto, and man, that was just bus lengths, literally. Like, there was no comparison with those two. Now, look, we're not saying that this car is a better car than the Jesko or a better car than the Chiron, because these are hypercars, 3, 4, 5 million pounds. However, what we are saying, and what the whole point of the comparison was, is that your 992 Turbo S with just some bolt-ons, no major engine builds, not hundreds of thousands of pounds put into the car, can just with a few bolt-ons can compete with the best of the best hypercars. It did, so check it out. So guys, some of you who watch the channel may think, due to the number of 992 Turbos and Turbo S's that we do, that we may not do other models, but we do. This here is a 992 Carrera base. So this is the base setup that comes with 390 horsepower from the factory. Now this car was previously tuned by another tuner, and it's not been getting the best results. So the owner has brought it in. It's actually his son as well, has a 992 Carrera for which we've done a stage 2 on, and that made some great numbers. It made 540 crank, and we'll drop a couple of clips of that in there as well. Sounds awesome. But yeah, this one we're going a little bit further. So if you come through Mr. Shaz and take a look, we are putting on some juicy hybrid turbos there. So these are actually larger than the factory ones. So the factory turbos here that are on the 992 Carrera are quite small units. So we turn it around, that's the same size there, but yeah, I mean, it's quite a bit smaller than the one that's here. As you can see on the compressor side, on this side as well, that I'm on, it's a little bit smaller on there as well. So we've used brand new larger cores that are from the Carrera S models. So some of you may or may not know, but let me put this down. But yeah, nice, get my hands dirty for once. But yeah, the Carrera S models have, Carrera S, 4S, GTS, they have larger turbos from factory compared to the base Carreras. So the base Carreras, when you do a stage 2, you're pretty much at the limit of the turbo because it's so small. The compressor wheel's tiny on those, so it doesn't really flow very, very well. These turbos here that we are using at the moment, they are the larger core from the S, and they are also obviously a larger wheel on the compressor side and the exhaust side, and they're rated up to 850 horsepower, so it is a big turbo. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting what we do. This car already had an Acura exhaust on there. We're going to be fitting the link pipes so it goes catless, and along with our custom intake kit with the turbo. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what numbers this makes, but as always, we'll keep you posted. Right guys, so Ray's 992 ES900 conversion was complete, and so it made some really strong power when we first started tuning it. It actually initially got up to 916 wheel horsepower and 742 foot-pound of torque, which is a little bit more torque than we are happy with, even though the power was solid. So that works out to be 1,077 crank horsepower, which it's not something to be sniffed at. And as you can see from that curve, that was really insane. But like I said, we weren't happy with that. So then we made some changes to the tune, and I'll show you what we ended up with. So this is what we ended up with. We tailed it, brought it down a tiny bit, so it's 908.8 wheel, but the torque is back down now to 680. Also, if you look, the torque curve, we've changed it up there. So before, initially, it was coming in quite hard and then flattening off, but now we've kept it as flat as possible throughout the whole RPM range, and peak torque is a little bit later on at 6,500 RPM as well. This will maintain a safer car and also make it a very fast car as well. Now, the other change that we had made on this car is we were using a different set of diverter valves, the Turbo Smart ones, and that's why it's also contributed to help holding that boost a lot better, and that's why it came in so strong initially with the first few revisions that we did on the car. But yeah, it's making some killer numbers on the dyno and on the street.